Hi Submarine friends. Well, I've made quite a bit of progress since the last video, so this is really just an update on my progress. So what I've done is I put the deck back on. It's all bolted down. It needs a little work on the outside yet, a little grinding here and there. The sail, of course, goes on with the deck. The dive planes are on. And I've got my exhaust system coming up through the top of the sail now. So what I have to decide is how I'm going to make the exhaust from that point up. And I'm thinking about just using telepost pipe because one pipe fits inside the other pipe really nicely. So I would just put like a piece this tall over top of that little pipe that's sticking out now. And then I can have another pipe that just slips into it that can be just simply lifted out and removed. I don't know how tall it needs to be. I don't want exhaust coming into the submarine when I'm cruising along with the hatch open, which is quite possible if you're heading downwind, for instance. So the exhaust stack needs to be high enough so the exhaust goes up and just can actually pass the submarine if the wind is faster than what I'm traveling. These are things I just have to play around with. But I think just welding a stub pipe on top will work really well. And that piece bolts on, so it can be easily removed. So if I have to pull it into the shop or something and it's too tall, then I can remove that. I know when this is on the trailer, the exhaust stack will hit the door. I don't know how much it's going to come back into this shop on a trailer anyways, but I need the option to remove it. So if I have I think I could put about 4.5, maybe even 5 inches on top. A quick measurement would solve that. So what else do I got to do? I got a hole here I have to weld up, and I have to put a new lifting hook on the back because I also installed my vent pipe. So this is just a plastic 90 here. I want to replace that with a metal 90, but this is what I have right now, and it'll get me going in the test pool. And this piece of hose clamps to this pipe, and so I'll get some really nice looking stainless steel clamps for that. Unless I decide to weld this pipe to that metal 90. No, I can't do that, because the pipe goes right through the sail, and then there's a 45-degree elbow welded to this pipe so that it can come all the way to right here, and under this cover is the vent valve. Now I did have a small problem with the vent valve, so I don't know if it's a problem yet, but I'm not going to deal with it now. I'll wait until the winter to deal with it. What I did is I took a ball valve and I machined the stem so that it could be O-ring sealed. So the valve plugs into the side of the hull, and then there's an O-ring seal. And for some reason, I don't know what happened with my machining, but the O-ring groove does not appear to be deep enough. So it damages the O-ring when it goes in. So what I've done is I've put some high-end marine sealant on it as well as the O-ring. So in the gap from the valve to the O-ring, which is like 1/4 of an inch, there's this really good quality sealant. So that'll get me going, but it's not going to cut the mustard full time. So I have to decide what to do about that. I mean, if it ever leaked, it would not be catastrophic because there's only 0.02 of an inch of clearance from the valve to the hole, and not much water can come through a 2 thou gap, and then a damaged O-ring behind that. So it's still safe, but it's not ideal. So it has to be dealt with. But I'm not going to stop, because this is my valuable time of year where I can be testing and playing around with the sub, and so that's a winter job. So anyways, not everything works out perfect. I don't know what happened though, because I machined it, I put O-rings in, I tested it. I don't know, maybe I've got maybe I just have a different size O-ring than when I made it. I don't know, I need to investigate. I'm just not going to let it stall me, and I'm not going to get hung up on it because it's really not a big deal for right now. I mean, I want to get this in the water and get testing and do some shallow dives and, you know, get this thing working as a submarine. So I don't have a whole ton of stuff left to do. I got some paint work, but I think I'll do all the paint work after it comes out of the test pool, because my crane struggles to lift it out of the pool, and so I have to kind of drag it, and the paint job will end up getting damaged, so I might as well wait. Besides, I might want to change something. So I guess I can get the lights mounted on it, including the clear light that goes on top, the orange and green light that go on. And then I gotta paint my wood decking and get that bolted on. I gotta make a bracket right here to hold this pipe so that it's more secure. Just little things like that. And I gotta make a new steering linkage as well that goes on here. And I put this pipe strategically at a height so that that linkage can come here, and then the cables can travel back to the back, unless I go with steel rods. I don't have any steel rods, but I do have cable. So I might start with cable and then upgrade it to steel rods later when I find some steel rods. But cable will work. I bought some stainless steel cable for the inside, and I got enough to do the outside as well. So that's my progress. I just thought I'd get everybody caught up on where I'm at. One thing I don't like is this side piece right here that runs the link. It's kind of wibbly-wobbly from using reclaimed metal and then welding it, and it warped. And so I think eventually I'm going to chop that off, just buy a piece of 1/8 flat bar, like 3 by 1/8 or 4, whatever it is, and weld that on, because it really bugs me. It really looks crappy. Although when you look at World War II submarines, everything is kind of like that, probably because they were built so fast. But I don't like it. So I want it to be nice and smooth. So anyways, that's it for today. Ciao.